So I wasn't sure if I was going to do this video because I don't like to talk bad about our people. But me and Positive Vibes in my DM were talking because I made a post in my stories.
Stop being a celebrity for a year and stop fighting for equality and just focus on the tennis. How do you respond to that?
Well, the day I start fighting for equality and for people like that look like you and me will be the day I'm in my grave.
Thank you. Thank you. That maybe you should stop.
What I want you to pay attention to is to the part that she said, people like you and me. So a black woman asked her this question, who the fuck? Or was she white? And Serena meant women. Ooh, that's even deeper. I really want to know what this reporter looked like. I really want to know what this reporter looked like now, because I want to know if Serena meant like me, like you and me as in women, or like you and me as in black. Ooh, child. So Positive Vibes 44 hit me up in my DM and told me that the reporter is this lady named Billie Jean King. She is a white tennis player who was very active in the women's movement from the 70s. So, my original question still stands. When Serena was saying, I fight for you and me, or people that look like us, who was she talking about? I think that black people are going around and we're, reposting this video thinking that she was talking about us as black people, and she was talking about women. So when I was young, I was a tomboy, if you can't tell. I really thought I was a feminist. When I was a teenager, 19, 18, I really thought I was a feminist because I wanted to, do everything a boy could do. I drive a stick shift in my car, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I could do everything a boy could do. But then I got older and I got a job. I was working in advertising. Now, advertising is a very female-driven business, right? At mid-level, okay? So your managers, your supervisors, your directors and stuff are a lot of women. Not black women, but women. And higher up, like your CEOs, your CFOs, all that kind of stuff, those are usually men, right? Okay. So what I noticed about these women that were in the positions that, I'm seeking to attain one day because, I'm working my behind off fighting this racism in this company so I can move up and make some more money, and maybe one day I could be a supervisor and I can move my people in. I asked my coworkers, that's all I was about, right? I wanted to be able to move and maneuver and put people in places like how they used to do, right? That weren't qualified. They used to put people in places that weren't even qualified. Anyhow, moving right along. So one of the things that I noticed about these women that had these positions, which I was trying to get to, they were all single except for one, my direct supervisor. Yo, I don't mean to be mean or whatever, but I'm gonna keep it real. She is a fucking bitch, okay? The biggest bitch you ever want to meet, okay? She was hell. She used to make people cry. Not me, but she used to make people cry. And so one thing I noticed that, she had a husband, but then I realized that she talked to her husband the same way she talked to us. And that's when a light bulb went off in my head that the type of man that I want would never allow me to talk to him like that, because they have just the same reason I wouldn't allow her to talk to me like that, because I got pride in myself. Okay, you can't help me any kind of way. Okay, and I want a man that has pride in himself. You know what I'm saying? That won't allow me to do that shit to him either. You understand what I'm saying? So I knew from then. I made the correlation. I ain't want nothing to do with that feminist shit. I ain't want nothing to do with it. I ain't see no benefit in it. It wasn't even working for them. Okay, now. So that's when my views on feminism started changing. And like I said, this is before I knew the origins of the women's suffrage movements, before I knew the origins of the feminist movement, before I knew the origins of Roe versus Wade. Did you know the origins of Roe versus Wade? Yo, I just learned the origins of Roe versus Wade. Check out the origins of Roe versus Wade. It's crazy.
Forward to 1969. All right? 1969. Some lawyers in Texas, they wanted to challenge the abortion law. Because in some places, and well, in most places, abortions were illegal, but they had exceptions. If it's incest or rape, those were the exceptions for abortion. Got it? Excuse me. So this is where the Roe versus Wade comes in. Now, who is Roe? Roe is an alias. In a lot of cases, they have a John Doe, and if it's a woman, they call it a Jane Roe. So Roe is Jane Roe, which was an alias. Jane Roe is a white woman named Norma McCorvey. All right? Y'all follow me on this. Norma McCorvey is Jane Roe. That's the Roe in Roe versus Wade. Wade was some guy in Texas. I think he was the district attorney or the prosecutor in Texas. That was Wade. So that's who they were suing. Y'all follow me? So they were going to sue And all with Jane Roe, basically, this was a lawyer, a group of lawyers looking for somebody as a proxy to use to push this case. They already planned on challenging the abortion law. They just needed like a pregnant white woman. Got it? So she signed an affidavit. Now, this is the thing that a lot of folks don't know about this case. Jane Roe, Norma McCourty, she told the media and the lawyers perpetuated this. She told them, and the lawyers were going around saying that she got raped by a gang of black men. Jane Roe, Norma McCourty, lied and said she was gang raped by a group of black men at a carnival in Georgia. Okay?
So, sisters, I'm going to ask you. You standing with these feminists?
Yeah, a lot of y'all don't know that part of it. So, in the 70s at the time, because of integration, the white feminist movement was going around using all this rape propaganda, like black men are going to be raping white women left and right because of integration. So, they were playing on that white racial fear. White flight was in full effect. So, they concocted a lie that black men raped that woman, got her pregnant, and now she needed an abortion. That's what made it go through. That's what made everybody get on board. And they could go, she waited 15 years to come on out and admit that she lied. She admitted that she lied. I mean, let me play a clip of her. This is like an interview she did in the 80s where she admitted she lied. Hold on.
The story was a terrible one. She said she had been gang raped, gotten pregnant, was desperate to get an abortion. That's what everyone believed, as long as Jane Roe remained anonymous. When she went public, she told a different story.
You were raped while you were in Georgia?
No, I wasn't.
You were not?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, so all those stories that are in the books and so forth are not true?
Yes, sir. Yes.
They're not true.
Right. And it turned out that lying wasn't the only embarrassment, this darling of the pro-choice.
Look at Gloria Allred. Boy, Gloria Allred loves representing liars, I see.
Y'all could call me Popeyes tonight because I'm hitting feminism with a 3-piece and a biscuit, and I'm not giving you no drink. Choke on it. Speaking of Glorias, black women, beware of non-black women named Gloria.
The private individuals to whom I went often had particular points of view to put forward, which would have been much, much more restricting than the CIA funds were, which were free. I mean, no one was told what to say.
You mean they were free? You mean to say it was easier for you to work for the CIA than a private organization?
That's right. And when the story broke that I had that I had for 4 years been a Central Intelligence agent, I was demonstrating outside the Pentagon underneath Mr. McNamara's office against the bombing in Vietnam. And this didn't precisely fit with the image of a CIA agent, but then maybe it is the CIA.
Remember what I just said. The white supremacists are the masters of deception. And part of that deception is they know how to very skillfully take all sides of every argument so that at the end of the argument, the only people who are confused and exhausted are the black people who are scattered all over the place and usually arguing with each other about this, that, and the other. And the white supremacists are still in business as usual. So you have to really pay attention to how they will start out appearing to do one thing, but they wind up doing something else altogether.
Yes.
Different from what they started out to do.
Okay.
They are masters at that. And so you have to watch and listen very carefully. And they are masters at using words in such a way that they sound like, and I'm going to repeat this over and over again, they sound like they are being as logical as you can possibly be. I mean, you will walk away saying, boy, that was great the way he said that. That was great the way she said that. And boy, did she really sum it up. But when you think about it twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, there will be great parts of what was said that will be absolutely logical and absolutely true. But there'll be 1 or 2 parts where they threw you off completely. Those parts will eventually take over all the other parts.
Okay.
They are masters at that trick. Watch for it.
I tell my friends this all the time about one specific person. See, y'all like to take snakes home and play with them and take them home and bring them in your house like pets. I like to cut their heads off and wear them as bags and shoes. You don't play with snakes. Let's go to the bitch who started it all and Planned Parenthood too, Margaret Sanger.
Sanger's admiration for the eugenics programs of Nazi Germany were well known at the time. In 1933, the Birth Control Review published Eugenic Sterilization, an Urgent Need, by Ernst Rudin, who was Hitler's director of genetic sterilization and the founder of the Nazi Society for Racial Hygiene. In her praise for the eugenics programs in Germany, Sanger called for the implementation of such programs in the United States, specifically targeting African Americans. The following editorial was published in the 1932 issue of the Birth Control Review.
At the end of the day, the white woman will always choose white supremacy over her own body. So don't sit here and stand in alliance with these feminists, because they don't even care about their own bodies. If at the end of the day they voted Trump in, it is. So I'm not standing with you, beside you, or next to you, behind you, in front of you. I don't give a shit.